Welcome back to Franchising Stronger Together. I'm your host, Fred Boswell, president of the International Franchise Professionals Group, IFPG. We are here to talk franchising best practices and certainly have some great leaders on the call today sharing what they've gone through, how they've pivoted, how they've supported their franchisees. We're joined today by Authority Brands CEO, Mr. Rob Weddle, and good friend Mike Pearce, CDO at Authority Brands. Welcome to the call, guys.
Thank you.
So let's start with Rob. Where are you located? Because you got some green going on there. It looks beautiful. I'm going to go outside right now. Where are you located? How's the family?
Yeah, we're in Central Maryland, just west of Baltimore. And yeah, we live kind of out in the country here a little bit, so it's been terrific. Got some good weather, and family's doing well. I think probably the one who's suffering the most from this is my freshman daughter. Has spent 7 months away at college and returned home, and I think she feels like she's been incarcerated. So we're happy that supposedly her school's going to reopen again in the fall, and she's looking forward to getting back.
Get some freedom. I understand.
Exactly.
Miss those times. All right, Mike, how about you?
I am in Columbia, Maryland. Just came into the office for the first time in several weeks. It's my first day back, and my family's doing great. My daughter brought a young man home last week, spent a week with us, and asked me for her hand in marriage. So what a great week that was. So,
does she know yet?
She does.
Okay. She might get to find out on here before he tells her.
Yes, she does.
Congratulations, and
Thank
wow, life-changing events. Awesome, guys. Well, thank you for joining here. You've got some great brands. You've got quite a few brands, and we've got plenty to talk about how your brands have been affected through the COVID crisis, and then you, the franchisors, how you have pivoted, changed your communications, changed maybe some of the support structure, helping them to share best practices, all of that. So, Rob, your CEO, let's start with you. How have y'all been impacted? And feel free to break it down per brand, however you want to do it. And you know what?
Yeah.
As I ask that question, a lot of folks don't know your brands. I can't even remember every one of them. So help us understand, what are your brands?
Why don't we start that there? I'll go through the brands, and maybe as I go through them, I can kind of give you an assessment of how they've done throughout this. So why don't we start with, our original brand that started it all was the Cleaning Authority. That's where we have the term Authority Brands came from. So the Cleaning Authority, out of the 7 brands, has probably been the most impacted, only because there were with the state orders, there were some states that actually explicitly disallowed house cleaning, interestingly enough. So there were some locations that had to be temporarily shut down, although everybody's on a gradual reopening at this stage. It's also the one discretionary brand where, it's economically impacted at times, and also consumers having you come into their homes. There's concern there. So we did have most of the locations remain open and business as usual, but what we did is we really helped train the franchisees on proper social distancing, employees wearing PPE when they went into the home, giving them good practices to contact the customers in advance and let them know when they're going to be showing up so that the customers could actually distance from the cleaners. And throughout all of this, just last week, we launched a consumer app for the Cleaning Authority, which is great. No one else in the industry has anything like this. And the app will actually alert you 15 minutes ahead of time on when your team's arrival is, and when they leave the home, you get an alert that they're gone. So it even allows consumers now to not even be present while we're in there cleaning your home. So it's a terrific thing, and we're really excited for what's happening in that brand. Couple of other brands we've got 2 outdoor brands. We've got one Mosquito Squad and another one America Swimming Pools. Both of those are operating pretty much at normal capacity. Interestingly, in March, we had our best month ever for America Swimming Pools, as I think most of America was locked down at home and realized, might as well open my pool. So we had a terrific month there, and people were spending more time at home in general. So, they're getting a lot of use out of their homes. And the same goes for Mosquito Squad, as people were spending more time in their backyards. I think people that maybe didn't think they had a mosquito problem have figured out, wow, I have a mosquito problem. And they're giving us a call. So we've had really good traction in those businesses, and the franchisees are very, very happy. And I predict actually even a bigger uptick in the mosquito business later in the season as people start to have the staycation as opposed to the vacation this year. And then again, that same group that realizes, well, I'm going to be home more often and I better get this mosquito problem under control. We also have an in-home care brand, Home Watch Caregivers. That brand is actually you've done very well as well throughout all this. I think there's been a lot of negative news out there about nursing homes, and I think that's contributed a little bit to some of the success. It's a fortunate, unfortunate thing. I mean, it's really sad, of course, what's happened throughout society, but I believe we're well positioned in the marketplace to be that better alternative. It's been proven time and time again that aging at home in place is a better alternative, and I think this is just kind of reinforcing that message. And in Home Watch, we've had an exceptionally nice run of it, and the franchisees have been really working hard and are really looking forward to a bright future there. And then our final brands, we've got 3 trade brands. We've got Ben Franklin Plumbing, we've got 1 Hour HVAC, and Mr. Sparky Electric. Now those are essential services, right, for sure, when you think about that. And with the spring coming in and the warmer weather, I mean, the businesses have been doing well. Plumbing's been getting a workout. We're all spending a lot more time at home. We're using those bathrooms. We're taking more showers. We're just living more, right, in our homes than we ever have. And that leads to some overuse and find out things aren't working like you expected them. So those brands have all been doing, really, really well throughout all this as consumers use their homes hard. So I'd say by and large, out of the 7 brands, we're happy as an overall portfolio of companies. I feel like the diversification has helped us to really weather this storm maybe a little better than some franchisors because we have some diversification. So even that maybe slight downturn that occurred in cleaning was really counterbalanced by some really positive activity in the other brands.
Well, I tell you what, it's so fascinating hearing how brands are being impacted. I would have not ever thought that a plumbing brand, in a time when folks want to distance themselves and stay away and don't come in my home, man, when that toilet overflows, you're coming in my home. So you guys are thriving amongst the chaos in an industry you would not expect. All right, so Mike, how are y'all? Now you're CDO, so Chief Development Officer. Talked about franchise development in a bit, but you're out there also helping your franchisees to grow and to thrive and to share best practices. What are some things y'all are doing differently now that other franchisors might benefit from hearing about?
Well, Rob and I discussed it and really felt like we wanted the authority brands, that parent company level, to bring value to the franchisees, to bring some substantial value. And I wanted the franchise development team to bring value, and we did everything we could to become experts in the PPP loan program, the EIDL program. We held a series of webinars with individual brands and with complete authority brands presence as well. So did everything we could to help them get the funding they needed to get them through these difficult times. We continue on with that. We send out a daily newsletter.
Daily
Daily newsletter, from Rob every single day.
And what was it before this?
Rob?
Well, we've always done a quarterly CEO message, and of course our annual events and ad hoc as necessary. But we formed a task force. Basically, I remember it was a Saturday before St. Patrick's Day, so right there in the middle of March when it really started happening, and Congress passed that first bill. I called my senior leadership, and we formed a task force that Saturday and sent out our first communication. And we've met every day at 4 o'clock up until last week. Now we're doing it on an ad hoc basis, and on those daily meetings, we talk about the news that's happening out there. How can we provide good information? And so we were putting out a daily message, and like there's one going out this afternoon as well. And lately, we've also begun sending out messages about some of the great things that our franchise owners have done across the system to give back to their communities, and things they've done to kind of reposition their brand, reposition their business, and to really make an impact on the greater good. So we share those stories across the network. I think there was at least 40 or 50 of them. So we got to the point where we're sharing 4 or 5 a day in the email, and it's just been a really positive experience for our network.
Nice. Well, thanks for letting me interrupt you, Mike. Proceed.
No, that's fine. In regards to some of what the value that we're trying to bring, we also took that expertise or that information, and we sell a lot of conversion franchises. So in the trade brands, you need to be a licensed plumber technically to own a plumbing business, and we strove to help independent businesses that were engaged with us to help them get through these difficult times as well with the information that we shared with our franchisees. And so that was a key piece, but it's my goal, it's Rob's goal for us as an authority brands level to provide key value to our franchisees in a way that they wouldn't get elsewhere. And I think we were able to group expertise from vendors, from lenders, from a number of different resources, and provide a level of expertise and a level of value that others might not have gotten.
You bring up the conversion topic. That I imagine now more than ever before, that conversion opportunity is really an attractive opportunity to be a mom and pop out there by yourself, trying to figure out what in the world are we going to do, how are we going to do it with this loan issue that you help them with so much, and no doubt future issues. Franchising is the place to be right now more than ever because the support, the accountability, the best practices, the brand strength, the camaraderie. You're focusing right, and especially on those three brands, those trade brands that have an additional level of qualification to be able to perform legally with licensing, et cetera, certifications, et cetera. Yeah, I could see that being a hot possibility for you. Are you seeing, I know this is on the FranDev topic, but have you seen much of an uptick in interest in the conversion model?
We have, there's a lot of people out there trying to figure out, some struggling, even though the industry is doing well, struggling individually, trying to figure out what next steps are, how to manage a workforce that may or may not be interested in coming to work. A lot of different, one of the other pieces of expertise we try to bring to the table is help our franchisees through the labor issues that we're facing them, without obviously jumping into any co-employment issues, but trying to help them deal with their employees and the struggles that they were having. So a lot of independents are looking at the situation today, trying to figure out what to do. We were sharing the same information we were sharing with our franchisees, and it's brought a high interest. Our pipeline has grown substantially just in the last few weeks, and we have dozens of prospective franchisees at the bottom of the funnel that have been post virtual Meet Your Team days, ready to sign. Many are just waiting for this economy to open, but we are raring to go, and think we're going to have just a fantastic quarter. So.
Nice. Well, we're going to hit that strong in just a sec. I am curious on the topic of communications. You mentioned the daily email that's been so helpful to your franchisees. Any other changes in communication, or maybe the technology you use? A lot of people are saying, Microsoft Teams or Zoom or GoToWebinar. Doing anything in that arena differently than you had done before? Rob, you're the CEO. Are you communicating a different way beyond the emails than you've done before?
Yeah, I think we, at least internally, I think it's forced us into more of a structured cadence with our communication. So I've got, weekly reach outs with all the brands. I think Mike probably does the same as well as some of the other senior leaders. We come together as a group at least once a week as all the C-level folks to kind of talk about strategy and where we're headed. And of course, we're backed by a private equity firm. So they have set a weekly check-in now with them, which we have every Friday, to kind of look at just the trends across the brands so we could see where we were, where we're headed, talk about repositioning the marketing messages, repositioning the training. And so I think it's just created more communication and better communication. And, a lot of my team has only been together now for about a year. So it's really been great. We've kind of maybe taken a dog years leap in trajectory, and really have grown together a lot better. I also wanted to piggyback on Mike's answer about sharing information. So as far as even sharing information across franchising, we of course are, as authority brands, are continuing to look at other brands to add to our portfolio. And so I've got relationships with a number of CEOs at smaller brands. And so I reached out to them and we shared some of the information that we were providing to our network, just because we have a ton of resources. We've got in-house everything and lots of folks spending time looking at this. And some of these smaller guys, I know it's going to be a founder and a couple of key executives. So, I've been very, very forthcoming and being able to help them and show them, hey, this is kind of what we're looking at, what we're doing, and stressing to them the importance of constant communication with their franchise network. And so it's been I think a very positive experience all around.
Red, I would say this as well. Just in looking at the operations teams, the brand leaders and their communication with the franchisees, we've seen the use of Zoom meetings and Microsoft Teams, both internally, of communicating with large cohort groups within the franchisees on a much more regular basis, getting them together to share what's working, what's not, and it's really created more of a cohesive unit of a franchise family, I believe, just because of the situation.
Well, you got to love that. Just seeing the family come together. We call it franchise family. Sometimes there's a little arguing in those families, and this is the time when they'll always remember what y'all did for them and what they did together. And in times of trial, you really grow closer, and that soul that's growing closer together never really leaves that. You just always have that bond. So I love this topic. What about triumphing over adversity? Any particular stories y'all might have about, this franchisee decided to do this, or this group of franchisees tried something new, and boy, we've rolled it out to everybody. Anything you can share that would be encouraging to folks out there or interesting about franchisees overcoming and doing something different, stepping outside the typical brand standards to even implement a new income stream?
Go ahead, Rob.
And I didn't call on either one of you, so I know you, Rob. But what about you? You have so many brands, and you may not. I'm certain you don't hear about most of these stories having multiple layers in between you and the ultimate franchisee. But have any trickled up to you that you just say, "Boy, I got to share this"?
Well, in addition to all of this, I'm a multi-unit owner at the Cleaning Authority. So I have two locations, one in Delaware, one in Pennsylvania. And so within that brand, we're actually starting a promotion. I believe they started it today, where we're nominating your favorite teacher to receive free cleanings throughout the system. So it's a pretty interesting program. All the franchisees are very receptive. A lot of the Cleaning Authority franchisees receive PPP loans, so they're paying their folks, and it's tremendous. People are coming back to work, and so this is a way for us to give back. And really recognize some frontline people out there and people that are really being impacted by this. I know, Mike, you also said you had a couple of stories that came through the FranDev team.
Yeah, there's a number of stories. There's a franchisee down in Tampa, Florida, owns a Ben Franklin. In 1 hour, he is in Tampa. What they've done to show appreciation and solidarity to get through the difficult times is the community has put up Christmas lights, and the franchisees sponsored a contest that whoever put up the best Christmas lights, he would give a free UV light radiation filter and a free water filter system to the two best homes with light decorations. There's been a number of different ones. There's a Mosquito Squad franchisee in Boston who has donated over 200 N95 masks to hospitals. His technicians play rock, paper, scissors with the kids through the windows when they're spraying for mosquitoes. Very interesting stuff. We have TCA owners elsewhere donating cleaning services to cancer patients that need a cleaner environment. And one brand new Home Watch Caregiver franchisee that just opened in March did fundraising with some of his initial clients and bought a bunch of local meals from local restaurants and donated them to hospital workers. So a lot of very great things going on, very creative thought, trying to impress or solidify their position within the community as a company, as a franchisee, as a group of individuals who care about every aspect of the people they serve and trying to serve the greater community as well.
Well, oftentimes folks will say, boy, and that really got us X number of clients, or that could really generate some additional ROI. But guess what? They're doing it because it's the right thing to do, because they're good people giving back to their neighbors, caring about folks in need that are hurting, and they're doing it. Nobody's getting press release or on the TV news for playing rock, paper, scissors through the window. It's a miracle you even heard about that, you know, but there's great people in your organization. They're out there giving back and caring, and they have a good heart. So great to hear that. Well, you had quite a few there. I love that. And I'm sure everybody was encouraged by it. Unless you got something else, I'm gonna jump over to FranDev. Mike, you are the leader of FranDev as a CDO. Rob ultimately is the leader of everything there, but love to understand, you gave a little bit of insight to those folks in the pipeline when this all started. A lot of them put it on pause, it sounds like. Have you seen any surprises or any big changes besides, you know, it's kind of normal, it's expected, folks are gonna put it on pause, but have many gotten off a pause and said, all right, time is done. Let's move forward. I can see we're going to get through this. We're not going to have 50 million die. All right, let's close. Let's get open. So when that pent up demand hits, I'll be ready. Or give us insights on that pipeline.
Well, there's a group of brave souls out there. We've closed 11 deals in the last 4 weeks. So we're still selling franchises. And now we're through an FDD transition, and we have a whole slew of new deals that should close between now and the end of June. So many people have overcome that issue, and they're, you know, we're trying to get the point across that you know, the 2008-2009 crisis was a liquidity crisis. That's not the issue here. Liquidity is there. Some of the cheapest interest rates anybody's ever seen. 6 months of free you know, loan payments on your SBA loan, some of the lowest lease costs in starting a business right now, and an opportunity that this environment has created just in disruption of other businesses within the industry. So we do have a lot of brave souls, and many still coming through. We have been holding virtual Meet Your Team days. We held, I think, 6 last week with different brands. So a lot of people getting ready to sign on the dotted line and come through that. The bottom of our pipeline is the biggest it's ever been right now.
Really?
Absolutely dozens of people. And while the lead flow might be a little bit off in some drivers, you know, broker groups like yours, or you have leads, and we are doing everything we can to reach out and help everybody understand we're open. Our service, our brands are essential services. We didn't shut down. We are doing great in this environment, and now's the time to take a look at the authority brands. So, but you know, while the top of the pipeline, the lead flow may be a little bit lower, what we're seeing is those people are much more engaged, much more serious about where they're at. And, you know, we feel like there's this, you know, 30 million people sitting there unemployed. There's got to be thousands upon thousands sitting there trying to figure out what their next move is, considering franchising. We're doing everything we can to reach out. We have doubled down on our marketing. We've doubled down on our broker outreach, trying to get our message across that we are an opportunity in a great time to start a business.
That is encouraging, my friend. You know, I haven't gotten our latest stats from the past 15 days, but I did get the last 15 days of April, and our territory checks, you know, consultants, brokers do territory checks and to see if the area is available, they've got an interested candidate. And that was extremely encouraging to us to see that if you take each 15 days, you know, January 1 to January 15 and et cetera through this year, The last 15 days of April were a 36% increase over the average of the rest of those 36 days. So very encouraging there. Looking forward to hearing how the first half of May is playing out with us as well. I imagine it is similar. So those pipelines will be getting filled up here real soon. We love working with you guys. So franchising stronger together, you guys are donating your time here. You're giving a lot of cool stories, best practices, helping the franchisee community get stronger. Rob, any additional insights, suggestions, thoughts, predictions that you can share with the franchisors out there?
I think just everybody should remain positive. I mean, I think there was resiliency in our spirit that the consumers have, that our employees have, our franchise owners have. I mean, I think they're looking for us to kind of be that beacon that they can follow. And I think, to Mike's point, I would say at this stage, the morale in our system of 925 plus owners is higher than it's ever been. It's pretty phenomenal. And I think they're really seeing the value that a franchisor can bring when we do work together and we get a lot of good information and we tap into all of our resources to help one another. So I'm really encouraged by that. And I'm really encouraged by, out of all of this, people haven't given up. There will be better days ahead, I think, for all of us. But at the same time, I think we have to learn how to operate, within that environment. And again, we are changing up our training modules. We're providing different guidance to our franchisees on how they go to market, how they interact with customers, and things like that. That app that was released for the cleaning there, I think, is just a first step, and we're looking forward to a really nice future for ourselves. And really wish everybody that they remain safe and healthy and come out of this and we just grow better and stronger.
I'm looking forward to seeing both you guys on the road real soon. Mike, any final thoughts? You gave some good insights there. Anything else to add?
I just might, add on to what Rob said in terms of this moment in time is clarified. I've been involved in franchise development, franchising, helping people start businesses for 33 years now. And I've often said the true value of franchising is being part of that family that you talked about. Is not necessarily, the system, but being involved with all these other people that are connected, that have a similar business to yours, that share best practices. And what we found that this pandemic has created is a bigger sense of community, a reason to come together more often. And they're finding even greater value in franchising. And that's the message I think we need to get across is franchising has always been incredibly valuable just because this group of people you're involved with, this network of like-minded people that are all striving to drive their business forward. And I think this whole thing has just brought that into complete clarity and provides us an opportunity to take it even further in the future.
Very well said, sir. We've heard from our good friends at Authority Brands, Rob Weddle, CEO, and Mike Pearce, CDO. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us today on Franchising Stronger Together.
Thanks, Red.
Pleasure.
Thank you.